All right, here's quite a grim story, unfortunately. This is from The Independent. When Michael Baumer found out that he was terminally ill with colon cancer, he spent a lot of time with his wife, Annette, talking about what would happen after his death. She told him one of the things she'd miss most is being able to ask him questions whenever she wants, because he's so well read and always shares his wisdom. That conversation sparked an idea for Baumer. Recreate his voice using artificial intelligence to survive him after he passes away. The 61-year-old startup entrepreneur teamed up with his friend in the U.S., Robert Locascio, CEO of the AI-powered legacy platform Eternos. Within 2 months, they built a comprehensive interactive AI version of Baumer, the company's first client. Eternos, which got its name from the Italian and Latin word for eternal, says its technology will allow Baumer's family to engage with his life experiences and insights even after he's dead. It's among several companies that have emerged in the last few years, what's becoming a growing space for grief-related AI technology. One of the most well-known startups in this area, California-based StoryFile, allows people to interact with pre-recorded videos and uses its algorithms to detect the most relevant answers to questions posed by users. Another company called Hereafter AI offers similar interactions through a life story avatar that users can create by answering prompts or sharing their own personal stories. There's also Project December, a chatbot that directs users to fill out a questionnaire, answering key facts about a person and their traits, and then pay $10 to simulate a text-based conversation with the character. The character being your dead loved one. Yet another company, Seance AI, offers fictionalized seances for free. I mean, this is, like I said, it's grim. I mean, this is grim stuff. Quite literally a Black Mirror episode. I think this exact plot line was a Black Mirror episode. And so we continue to use dystopian sci-fi as an instruction manual rather than a cautionary tale. And this kind of thing, it's so deeply depressing on a level that's almost inexpressible. The idea of being turned into a chatbot after you die, that it's truly a fate worse than death. It's worse than hell. I mean, it's better to burn in the fires of eternal torment than to be made into Siri. Or at least it's like, they're one and the same. It's like, that is hell. That's you know. I tell you this right now, if anyone does this to me after I die, I'm going to come back and haunt you. I'm going to haunt the hell out of you if you do this to me. It's full-on poltergeist. If I find out that I've been turned into a chatbot, and this is probably the best example, the starkest example, the bleakest example of our death-phobic culture. And we are a culture terrified of death. And I know you might say that every culture has been afraid of death. Every person is afraid of death to some extent, and that's true. So maybe death-phobic is not exactly the right term. We aren't afraid of death as much as we are in denial about it. The Denial of Death is a book I've mentioned on the show before. It was written in the 70s by a guy named Ernest Becker, who ironically died shortly after it was published. He won a Pulitzer, I think, for the book, but was not alive to receive it because he had died. But this was his theory, that modern society is in denial about the reality of death. It refuses to even really acknowledge the reality of death. Because death is finality, death is the end of something, death is a conclusion, death is something that we can't really control. It has a power over us that we can't change, that we can't mitigate. And we like to believe that we're in control of everything, that we have total control over every aspect of our lives, and that nothing can happen or should be allowed to happen if we don't want it, if we don't like it, if we don't identify with it. So we want to be able to say to death, "Oh, I don't identify. No, I don't identify as dead. I don't. That doesn't work. You know, dying doesn't really work with what I want to do in my life. I just don't connect with that. Sorry, death." That's what we want to say, but of course we can't. And in modern society, we have just a lot of trouble with all that. So we find ways of trying to fool ourselves about our own mortality. It's just kind of this game that we play to avoid its reality. That's what a lot of the cosmetic surgery industry is about. That's what our obsession with youth is about. That's why that's why we act like our age is some kind of embarrassing personal detail, which is endlessly absurd. That, asking someone how old they are is embarrassing. That if somebody's 52 years old or whatever it is, that they should be embarrassed by that. One of the many things that we take for granted, we probably think that, it's normal. You don't ask people that question. It's not normal. I mean, in most societies, it was the opposite, actually. If anything, it was embarrassing to be too young. Because being old was a sign of, people were proud of that. The village elder. The village elder is 75 years old. He's quite proud to be 70. Tell everybody that, because what does that mean? It means you've been around for a long time. You have wisdom. There's wisdom that comes with it. And that was revered. And now we have the exact opposite. I mean, it really is. It's the world we've all lived in, the world we all grew up in. So it's impossible to not take it for granted to some extent. But we should try to understand, at least on an intellectual level, how ridiculous it is to live in a society where older people pretend to be younger. They try to make themselves look younger. They don't want to talk about their age. They want to be seen as younger. Like if you say to a 55-year-old woman, "Oh, I thought you were 35." She'll take that as a compliment. "Oh, well, thank you." That's an insult. To be thought of as significantly younger than you are, you should be insulted by that. That's another way of saying you are not mature. I expect older people to have a certain gravitas and wisdom about them, and you don't have that. And so that's what I'm telling you. And you take it as a compliment. So, but that's all. It's all part of the same. It's all part of the same thing. That we are. What is all of that about? Like, why is it embarrassing to be older? It doesn't make any sense. The only reason why it could be considered embarrassing is because we understand that being older is with age comes greater proximity to death. And that is the fact that we are embarrassed by and afraid of and don't want to acknowledge. And this is so far the bleakest manifestation of this, that we can try to say, well, I'm not really dying at all, because I'm going to live forever in my loved one's phone. I'm going to be an app. I'm going to live forever as an app on my loved one's iPhone. My God. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.